Hey everybody, how are y'all doing? My name is Nathan Scott. How y'all? You feeling good? Yeah. I work with Turning Point Center for Youth and Family Development. I'm the community outreach coordinator there, and I'm also the coordinator of last year's first ever Fort Collins Zombie Crawl. And thank you. I want to thank everybody for the outpouring of emotion and support that I got for this topic, for my one vote that was received. Just to point that out. And I want to thank G. Romero at gmail.com for his vote too, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, I just, by a show of applause, how many people here are happily married? Okay. What about just married? Okay. Happily divorced? Anybody? Relationships are important, but I got a feeling that there's some people in the room right now that may suspect spouse is a zombie. Am I right? You feeling that? Well, I'm here to tell you folks, there's some certain things that you can look for to find out of whether or not your spouse is in fact a zombie or not. And the first thing that you might want to notice about your spouse is fashion. Okay? Now, when you notice that the fashion sort of drops off, and you notice that they're no longer caring about whether their sweater came from the Gap or the Goodwill, that's a good sign that something's definitely wrong and definitely rotten in Denmark. But let me tell you this one thing, though, before we move on, and that skinny jeans, zombie or otherwise, that's just bad fashion. Just put that out there. So another thing that you might want to think about when you're regarding of your spouse may be a zombie is communication. How many times have you ever been sitting around at the dinner table and you're looking across your spouse, you say, oh, Sheila this, is Sheila that, Sheila this, and then your husband looks back and I want to make a note of that, that's all I'm saying. Another thing, diet. All right? When we talk about diet, I'm talking about, he's okay now, folks, it cleared up. When you're talking about diet, you may say to yourself, a lot of times we'll go out to dinner, maybe mad greens. Like veggies, stuff like that. Maybe you go to Chipotle, get the vegetarian burrito. Well, when you suspect that your spouse may be a zombie, there's only one choice, and that is probably Choice City Butcher. If you find yourself going Choice City Butcher a lot, then that may be a bad sign. Now, one other thing to remember is that special occasions, when it comes to special occasions, we all go to special occasions at weddings, right, receptions. How many times have you been with your spouse and been forced to drag along to a wedding or a reception? Yes? Has happened? Well, a lot of times you're asked to do an invocation, maybe the dedication, stuff like that. Well, if your spouse reaches for the Necronomicon, that's a bad sign. I'm just saying, that's definitely not a good one to have there. Now, as you know, that the zombies that are here in Fort Collins, they may be needing entertainment, perhaps, right? Where would a zombie go for entertainment? So you may say, well, how would I know if they're a zombie or not, and what entertainment choices would they be looking for? Well, if you find that they're watching a lot of these programs here, especially this one in the left-hand corner over here, if they're watching a lot of that, that's probably a good sign. I would love it if they had one that would be like, so you think you're a zombie. That would be a great show, wouldn't it? All right, another thing, if you find that your spouse is spending an inordinate amount of time wandering around aimlessly at this place, that's definitely a sign right there. You need to watch out for that. So what to do, right? So you think, hey, I need to do something about this. I need to find out. I need to make sure. By the way, this is Mrs. Scott, by the way. This is what happens at the Scott household when you mix the lights with the darks, by the way. So you're saying to yourself, I think my husband or my wife might be a zombie. What should I do about it? Well, I'll tell you what, there is a cure. And that is that the Fort Collins Zombie Crawl is coming up Saturday, October the 22nd. And it's going to be a great time, and you can bring your spouse, whether they're a zombie or not. We're going to have a lot of fun. I encourage you all to keep reaching for that rainbow. Sorry, I don't know what I said. I just wanted to have a chance to say that. It has nothing to do with anything. I just want to throw that in there. So I do encourage you to keep reaching for that rainbow and know that your spouse, zombie or otherwise, is still your spouse. And when you married them, if you remember right, the vows that you took were for better, for worse, right? For richer, for poor, for flesh falling off or otherwise. You need to think about that. And so I ask you this one question. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? I appreciate it.